For the first time after becoming the Speaker of the Maharashtra Assembly, Rahul Narvekar is speaking to a national television. Mr. Narvekar, thank you very much for speaking to Republic TV. You're giving your first interview on a day when we have seen a massive political furor between the Eknath Shinde faction and Uddhav Thackeray faction. But now, Eknath Shinde faction becomes the real Shiv Sena. Let's begin with the first big issue that has largely been spoken about, that is of handing over the Shiv Sena office inside the assembly premises to the Eknath Shinde faction. There has been a massive war of words. There was a meeting that was supposed to take place between you and the Chief Minister. What really has gone down as far as this particular decision goes of giving the office of the Shiv Sena to the Eknath Shinde faction inside the Maharashtra Assembly?
Well, insofar as the legislature party is concerned, it is distinct from a political party, which we have seen in several judgments of the apex court. The constitutional provisions have recognized. Insofar as granting space to the legislature party, the Maharashtra State Legislature Secretariat allots space to every political party, every legislature party within the state legislature, and Shiv Sena legislature party has also been allotted this space as an office space for their legislators to conduct work related to the legislature. At date, I have got no representation from any group stating that they are a fraction or they are a distinct group within the Shiv Sena legislature party. That being the case, this space has been allotted to the Shiv Sena legislature party. We have already recognized Mr. Eknath Shinde as the leader of Shiv Sena legislature party. Mr. Bharat Gogavle has been recognized as the chief whip of Shiv Sena legislature party, and therefore this office has been granted to Shiv Sena legislature party, of whom Mr. Eknath Shinde and Mr. Bharat Gogavle are the leader and chief whip.
Mr. Narvekar, I know several months have passed by as far as this decision is concerned of making him the chief, Mr. Gogavle, as the chief whip. We've seen the responses that have come in on the very day when you had basically taken this decision to recognize them, the kind of war of words that have essentially taken place. Speaking just about the rules, because you hold a bipartisan role and you wouldn't like to be dragged into this political mudslinging. Your position on this entire matter, and if you could put this into perspective, that it is, after all, the numbers which really matter when it comes to decisions like this, be it the office space or, for that matter, recognition of the chief whip.
You're absolutely right. See, the legislature party has a leader, has a chief whip. Now, to my mind, the Constitution of India Schedule 10 as well as the Maharashtra rules for disqualification of members on the grounds of defection, as well as other constitutional provisions and several Supreme Court judgments have distinguished a legislature party from a political party. Now, the right to appoint a leader lies with that legislature party. The right to appoint a chief whip is that of the leader of that legislature party. So we have only followed the rules and the provisions of the law. The law clearly states that the legislature party shall elect its leader, which they have done. When I got a representation from Mr. Shinde, he had signatures of over 40 MLAs who were supporting him as the leader of the party. So I was left with no choice other than recognizing him as the leader of the party. So these are the facts on record. The law is absolutely clear. So if someone disagrees with this, or if someone is not satisfied with this decision taken, I think the apex court is briefed of this issue and is having hearings with regards to this. But I am very sure, with regards to the constitutional provisions, with regards to the law as on date, and with regards to precedents which are prevalent with regards to this issue, that the decision with regards to disqualification of a member can only be taken by the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, and at the same time the decision to appoint or elect a speaker is to be taken by a majority in the House. And both these things have been, with regards to appointment of the speaker, election of the speaker, it's on record. All the procedures have been followed, all the rules have been followed, and therefore there is no debate with regards to that. And with regards to the question of disqualification, as I told you, there are several petitions pending before me, and a decision in that behalf will be taken at the appropriate time.
Well, you speak about the disqualification matter, hence I would like to bring in this question at this point in time. Uddhav Thackeray's faction has always been accusing you of acting in a jiffy, be it in the manner appointment of the chief of whip. They say that you've acted on behalf of the Bharatiya Janata Party, whom you've been a member of, and the fact that you've not acted in a bipartisan manner. That's the allegation that has always been leveled against you. Even before the disqualification matter that is yet to be resolved, the matter is still sub judice. It is still being heard in the apex court. But the Uddhav Thackeray faction seems to have already labelled you as a person who's always acted in a jiffy and always acted on behalf of the Bharatiya Janata Party.
See, the Speaker's office is a apolitical office. We are not aligned, and we are not. We are supposed to be unaligned, and we are unaligned when we are acting as a speaker or presiding officer in the assembly or in the legislative council. That being the case, it would be very unfortunate for people to level such allegations, and I think the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And in this case, whether the House enjoys, whether the Speaker enjoys the confidence of the House or not, can only be established on the floor of the House. And insofar as I am concerned, the floor of the House has already expressed their confidence in me acting as the Speaker, and therefore I do not give much weightage to what is said beyond the House, because at the end of the day, the test whether the Speaker enjoys the confidence of the House or not is to be proved on the floor of the House, which has already been done. Insofar as people see, there are 288 members in the State Assembly. There are over 6 major political parties in the State Assembly. It's not possible to satisfy the demands and perhaps the wishes of every political outfit or every individual member. So if your desire or wish has not been satisfied to your expectation and has been dealt with in accordance with the provisions of law, I don't think that should be a reason for you to cast aspersions on the office of the Speaker or on the Speaker.
Well, Mr. Narvekar, you aren't the only target. It appears right now that the Election Commission is the second target of the Uddhav Thackeray faction. Serious allegations have already been levelled by a man called Sanjay Raut. But as someone who's a fine legal mind, and the fact that you've obviously gone through the proceedings in the Election Commission also, the fact that today the Election Commission has come down heavily on 2 aspects. One, the lack of a constitution within the Shiv Sena from 2018 onwards. Point number 1. Point number 2 is the fact that there was no elections that has ever happened. There is no internal democracy. And the third aspect, that the numbers obviously favors the Shinde faction. All that put together, Eknath Shinde was the best suited to be given the party symbol. How do you essentially look at all of this, especially when the Uddhav Thackeray faction calls that it's time that the Election Commission should be completely dissolved because they are not working in a bipartisan manner?
See, every person who believes in the democracy in this country shall abide by the constitution of this country and shall have faith in the constitution of this country. Now, if the constitution of this country clearly provides a distinct and independent role for the executive, legislature and judiciary, and also carves out the Election Commission to be an independent and autonomous body, to cast aspersions on the Election Commission, I think is very unconstitutional, and the person who attempts to do so himself does not believe in the constitution of the country. That's what it would reflect. And therefore, I feel responsible leaders responsible citizens should desist from making such unwarranted comments about institutions which are formed by the constitution of this country.
But Mr. Narvekar, when you overall look at the decision that has now been taken by the Election Commission, and it appears that it is very clear, it is the numbers that has really favored. Do you believe that that is exactly what has always worked for the Eknath Shinde faction, because it's the numbers which finally matter, be it in your case, for that matter, or right now the party symbol? And would that weigh heavily as far as the disqualification pleas are concerned?
See, the Election Commission of India is a absolutely very credible organization, institution, and not only is it has its credibility been proven in the country, but internationally Election Commission of India is recognized to be a very efficient, fair and very astute institution. And therefore, having said that, I'm sure that they have applied their mind to all the aspects of the case before them. They have had several hearings. They've given opportunities to both the parties who have been contesting before them. They have also established that the principles of natural justice are followed and then come to a decision. And to my mind, the decision taken by the Election Commission should not be criticized unnecessarily. If you are not satisfied with a decision, you should perhaps exhaust the next remedy available to you. You can approach the apex court, and I'm sure that if you have a point in your argument, or perhaps if you have a genuine grievance, the Supreme Court of India is capable enough to deal with that.
Mr. Narvekar, one final question before I let you go, because the disqualification pleas, all eyes would be on that, and you would undoubtedly play a pivotal role on this entire matter. Are we to really expect that all decisions pertaining to the disqualification would now only be taken after the apex court decides which way to go?
No, I don't think this is the right stand to take, because as I've told you before, that the decision with regards to disqualification can and only shall be taken by the Speaker of the State Assembly. And I have received petitions, my office has received several disqualification petitions against number of members of Legislative Assembly in the current Vidhan Sabha. And our office is working on those petitions. We have already issued notices. We've received requests for further time from some of the members. Some of the members are going to put in written submissions. And as we are all aware that all the rules and regulations and provisions of the Civil Procedure Code are applicable to these petitions, and therefore, there'll be a process of verification, there'll be a process of examining witnesses, there'll be a process of cross-examination, there'll be a process of, all the other provisions which are there under the CPC will be followed. Everyone will be given an opportunity, no one will be unheard, decisions will be taken after the mandatory notice period, and these things may take a little while, but that does not mean that we are not acting on these petitions. There is no order of no court that restricts the Speaker from taking a decision on these issues, and therefore we are in the process of deciding these issues at the relevant time after following the due procedure. And having said that, I must clarify that we have the utmost respect for the apex court, and we shall definitely have a very cordial relation and respect for the apex court. And I am sure that the apex court of this country and the judiciary of this country is strong enough to recognize that the constitution has given certain functions and responsibilities on the state legislature, and me as the Speaker of the state legislature shall definitely comply and deliver these responsibilities in the most fair and the most constitutional manner as possible.
Mr. Narvekar, just one final question that I would like to take, because since you've elaborated on this entire matter, and I would say to a greater extent, the future of Maharashtra also, perhaps depends on various decisions that the government takes, and this matter has always affected the people of Maharashtra, the fight that is still brewing. Is there any particular timeline that we are really looking at in terms of the decision that would be taken by you and your office pertaining to the disqualification matter? Is there any particular timeline are we to look at?
No, like I've said, there is no intention of delaying any matter. The decisions will be taken. But while taking this decision, we do not want to take a decision which leaves any scope of ambiguity or perhaps casts an allegation of not following the procedure or not giving an opportunity to any member. Therefore, we'll take a decision, but it shall be taken after following all the rules and giving enough opportunity to every individual member.
Well, just a quick question, Mr. Narvekar. If the apex court basically decides in favor of either camp, what perhaps would be the way ahead? Does that have a heavy bearing on the decision of the speaker or the speaker's office?
Sorry, can you come again?
I say if the apex court decides to go either ways, chooses either camps, does that have any major bearing on the decision that would be taken by you and your office?
No, I think both the issues are completely disconnected and there is no real relevance between the two. Like I've told you that I am concerned with the legislature party and not with the political party, and the legislature party I will have to examine as to whether there has been any breach of whip, whether there has been a conscious effort to disregard the constitutional provisions with regards to affiliation to any political party. And these are things which I will be considering. I do not think the decision of the Election Commission of India it definitely strengthens my decision-making power with regards to certain issues pertaining to defection. But the procedures and the law laid in this behalf will be followed to the T.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Rahul Narvekar, for taking out the time and speaking to Republic TV, putting this into perspective. What does this essentially mean? All eyes would certainly be on the decision that would be taken by Mr. Narvekar at his office with regards to the disqualification plea. Thank you very much.